How many people out here believe that Gloria Allred will represent Stephen Avery in a civil litigation court? Hmm? That's not happening, okay? Gloria Allred will represent Jeffrey Epstein, okay, before she'll represent Stephen Avery. She'll represent Donald J. Trump, before she'll represent Stephen Avery. That's what's happening, people. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't. No. Brendan, well, see, Brendan was 16, okay, so, and he's special needs, okay, so, maybe she'll represent Brendan Dassey. But I doubt that. She'll just suck it off to somebody else. Okay? Most likely. No. Gloria Allred is going to represent the estate of Teresa Marie Halbach. Now, oh, hell yes. Hell yes. You see, Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey didn't kill Teresa, therefore Teresa's not dead. Got it? Now, who is Carmen Boutwell, funeral home, freshly incinerated, cremated, but that's what's left over of the cremation. You see, it's where the intense heat comes from. Then they're scuffled off into a box, okay, separated from the ashes. Ashes go in the urn. What's supposed to be crushed up and heated again wasn't crushed up, wasn't heated again, put into a box and sent. But the question is that what are the cut marks on it? So, Carmen Boutwell, open casket, 8th of November. There's nothing but hearsay that connects Carmen Boutwell's bones to the burn pit. Nothing. Hearsay. They say so. Prove it. You don't, first off, the coroner, the fuck out of there, one. Number two, you don't go in there and skid steer. Okay? Dig it up. Drop it in something, go over there, search through it, and mysteriously find these bones. Well, they didn't find all the bones, did they? If some of the bones were there, all the fucking bones are there. They don't just disappear, you know? Like in a crematorium. The remains and the amount of remains that was recovered from the pit, supposedly, don't match what went into the pit. You see, if Teresa Marie Halbach was burned in that pit, Teresa Marie Halbach would be in that pit. All of her. Not some of her. Not a percentage of her. All of her. One tooth? No. All the teeth. See? Those bones are never in that pit. There's no pictures of bones in the pit. They say there's pictures of bones in the pit. They could drop a few bones. Who knows what they fuck are. And take pictures of them and say it's Teresa. So the whole connection between Teresa in the burn pit and the cadaver dogs not there. The connection between the two is not there. Therefore, since the dogs already said, hey, Teresa's not burned here, go take me someplace else. Okay? No. And they say, oh, because Bear was there? Yeah, right. Take Bear out and let's see what the dogs do. Teresa Marie Halbach was not burned in Stephen Avery's pit, period. Teresa Marie Halbach, therefore, must be alive. Period. That's it. Anybody that says different, prove it. Prove she died someplace else in other circumstances. You can't. It's fictitious. It's out there. It's just mysterious. That's all it is. It's a figment of your imagination. Now then, Gloria Allred is going to represent the estate of Teresa Marie Halbach. The best way to go about this isn't through the courts. Fuck the courts, okay? We'll go fuck the courts later on, but for right now, fuck the courts. Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey don't even need to go to court. Fuck that shit. Go find Teresa Marie Halbach alive. That's probably the most important thing right now, okay? Go round up Teresa Marie Halbach. First, you must believe she's alive. Now, all these fucking idiots. Teresa's dead. Who killed her? Fuck you. You know. Fuck your question. Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey didn't kill Teresa Marie Halbach. Stop. You got a choice. Two choices. One, Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey didn't kill Teresa Marie Halbach. Teresa Marie Halbach is not fucking dead. Or two, oh, then who did? I just slap some people sometimes, man. If Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey didn't kill Teresa Marie Halbach in the ways and manners in which described, which basically doesn't make sense and sucks, and is easily disproven, doesn't that mean that she's not dead? Kind of like your first choice, you know, versus she's dead. Anybody that says different, I'm not going to listen to you. Get the fuck out of here, okay? There's something wrong with that mental fucking thought process. Immediately, she's dead. Oh, fuck you, okay? You have a mental fuck up, and that mental fuck up was stuck into your brain by the media. And because you went out here and bashed Taddick and Bobby, okay, and insinuated this, insinuated that, you know, rake Steve and Brendan over the fucking coals and all this fucking nasty shit, negative, evil fucking shit, okay, now you can be sued for libel and slander. Yeah. Teresa Marie Halbach comes walking out of the woods, says, "Here I am," or a buckle swab, under conditions of secrecy. Oh yeah, there's that. Teresa Marie Halbach can provide a sample. And they'll do all the sample and shit, but they'll keep her more or less address hidden and shit. But not for long, okay? So Teresa Marie Halbach, you got to come out alive. Gloria Allred is putting a team on you, and she is going to find you, and going to get a buckle swab off you, going to get a fingerprint off of the glass. Going to pay Stacy Seabrook $20,000 so she can give 10 of it to Teresa St. Jean Crockett. Okay? We'll either include her, voila, we found Teresa Marie Halbach alive, or exclude her, okay, let's go to the next. What the fuck is so wrong about that, Teresa? Huh? Why won't you give Gloria Allred a DNA sample? Mainly because you're Teresa Marie Halbach. That would be the only reason why you won't give a buccal swab to a representative of Gloria Allred's law office in a company with Stacy Seabrook. And the reason why I want Stacy Seabrook is because I'm going to slip his ass to $10,000 fucking dollars. Okay? Why? Just for the hell of it. Okay? Or the $10,000 can go to Brendan Young, okay? But Brandon said, hey, Stacy Seabrook, he made all his tunes and music and stuff like that. I'm paying you with Lori Allred's money, I'm paying you to go serenade Teresa St. Jean Crockett. At the same time, she starts to sing along, bang, we'll stick a buckle swab in her mouth. Okay? That's all. That's all. But Stacy Seabrook hasn't done that. Teresa St. Jean Crockett hasn't done that. Why? Okay. It's Lori Allred's money, so fuck, I don't care. $20,000 to Stacy Seabrook. Another $20,000 to Stacy Seabrook. To hold for Teresa St. Jean Crockett in Trail, Warfield, British Columbia. Okay? Yeah. And let's either break this case or we'll move on, depending on the result. But for Teresa St. Jean Crockett / Teresa Marie Halbach in hiding, when you went into hiding, when you were actually kidnapped, you were actually kidnapped. You can claim that you was actually kidnapped, not really, because you transported photos from point A to point B. No other person can. You're the carrier, or you were involved in your own disappearance. Yeah. You can claim that you were forced, more or less, into going in hiding. That you didn't want to, but you was forced. Therefore, you can still get damages, I don't care. All right. Lori Allred will get you damages. So, it's not that you're hiding anymore, other than the fact that Manawag County, Wisconsin State might want to assassinate your ass because they didn't do it the first fucking time. They're going to come back and finish the fucker, okay? And if they do op your ass and we find out that we're Teresa Marie Halbach, then we'll go back and look at who ordered the opping of your ass. So they're really not going to get away with it. You might be dead, but they won't get away with it. At least you have that knowledge. Okay, because it'd be suspicious. They're really going to have to figure out something to kill your ass, because you just don't drop over fucking dead usually. So, the whole fucking world is looking at you. Anybody so much as move a hair on top of your head will know about it, okay? It'll be the biggest sensation ever. So, no, they're scared of you. They're not going to touch your ass. You're protected by publicity. Too many people know who you are. So it's safe to come out, one. Then Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey get out of prison. They go on a lawsuit. Sue Happy, fuck, okay? Making Murder Season 3, Sue Happy. Is going to sue everybody, but there's a problem. And the problem is that Carmen Boutwell died of an overdose of methadone. She was a pot smoker. Okay. And there's skull fragment, Eisenberg, skull fragment with a bullet hole in it. Huh? Yeah. And that happened on the 3rd, too. And guess who was involved? And it went straight to Bogle. Straight to Bogle. Bogle knew about it. Okay? Bogle. They're all over it. So, Carmen Boutwell was cremated, and a box of bones lands on Eisenberg's desk. She opened the door, they handed her a box of bones, she closed the door and put it on her desk. Opened it up, took pictures of it, and said, there, now we're going to go make sure it's in Stephen Avery's burn pit. Okay? Yeah. Now, whether the Boutwell family, friends, whether they knew she was being cremated and those were all of her remains, versus she was cremated and they got most of all her remains, but the other ones were used to convict Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey. Now, although the bones were sent to the Halbachs to destroy, bury, do whatever, we go have Halbach, Teresa excavated. Pull up the casket. Boom, open it up. Are there bones in there? If they are, get the bones together and send them down to a separate lab, okay, or a lab that Shirley Cohane doesn't work at, okay? And give them to Gloria Allred. Gloria Allred is now in possession of Teresa Marie Halbach's bones, reportedly. Next, we're going to go to Carmen Boutwell. And we're going to go get the ashes from Carmen Boutwell. Now, can you compare ashes to burnt bones? Actually, yes. You see, we know they're Carmen Boutwell's. That's not a question. We're not trying to identify them. We're just going to try to identify what source, heat source, turned them into ash. And what you do is you take a sample of that and you put it in a gastrometer, okay? And around she goes, and pop! Here comes the result. The result was these ashes were turned into, from flesh to ash, bone ash, by propane. Well, Stephen Avery wasn't out. He's got a big propane tank over there, but he wasn't flame throwing, with the propane tank. Okay? And they said he burned Teresa Marie Halbach in his pit, right? When he's got over there a smelter where he melts down fucking metal. Okay? So Stephen Avery is going to be in his backyard with neighbors coming and going on Halloween. Okay? Trick or treat, right? And he's got this big old fire when you could just stuff her in the back of a rab, drive on down there to wherever his incineration is, chuck her ass in there and burn her down to the point that the leftovers would look exactly like what was found in his pit. So how this works is Stephen Avery went down, burned Teresa up in his incinerator that they melt shit with, scraped Teresa Marie Halbach's bones out, and then went over and deposited them in his burned pit. No, he'd crush them up and burn them some more, and all gone. All of it. Now, another way we could do it, he would take the urn that Carmen Boutwell was in, put it on a scale. Now, for height, weight, build, the skeletal system, the amount of ash remains will be on the scale weigh this much. The leftover expectancy for cremation, some bones still hanging out that they have to crush, over here. What we get is exactly the same amount of weight for Carmen Boutwell's bones to be 2/3 of her body. Over here in the Stephen Avery case, when you weigh it all out, you get 1/3 of a human body. 2/3, 1/3, there's a human body. Carmen Boutwell is the contributor to the box of bones that was delivered to Leslie Eisenberg. You see, a little bit of thinking changes the dynamics, okay? Carmen Boutwell was OD'd by somebody. Evidently her best friend was with her. I don't know. Is that murder or accident? Just coincidence. Now, the bones that they analyzed did not come back as Teresa Marie Halbach positivity. You can't say that those bones are actually Teresa Marie Halbach. Although you got a conviction, death certificate, the whole fucking bit out of it, but you can't do that. Not in a court of law. Period. You can't. You cannot do that. But they did. The FBI come back, they did their forensic testing, come to find out that it is not a direct link from Teresa's mother, Karen, and Teresa, or the bones that's supposed to be Teresa. Although you can connect Teresa Marie Halbach directly to her mother, and her bones would be a direct 100% match, bar none. And then we got these other bones over here, which are, well, we can't exclude Teresa Marie Halbach, but they're within the relative constellation, a relative of Teresa Marie Halbach on a genealogy scale. Carmen Boutwell, come back to her again. So we do know a couple of things. Number one, there's 2/3 of a human being cremation in the possession of whoever have Carmen Boutwell's cremated remains. We have a box of bones that does not belong to Teresa Marie Halbach. Can't exclude Teresa Marie Halbach, no, but cannot exclude Carmen Boutwell either. But what we can conclude is that between the two, it's the one that's not a direct descendant from Karen Halbach. Carmen Boutwell. You people. Okay, so here's how it goes. Is Stephen Avery, Brindassi, walk free. Teresa Marie Halbach comes back in the picture and says, "Hey, I'm back." Stephen Avery, Brindassi are released from prison, and then there's an reinvestigation open into the murder of Carmen Boutwell. Now we're talking about murder. Now it's conspiracy. When you have all these cops out there doing all this stuff, knowing that Carmen Boutwell was fucking murdered because he was shot in the fucking face, okay? And it's probably happened after she was dead, okay? So, why does Brendan Dassey have to sit there and confess that Stephen Avery shot Teresa Marie Halbach in the head 10 times in the garage? Where does this shot in the head come from? The police actually had to shoot her in the fucking head after she died. So somehow, someone opt Carmen Boutwell on a scheduled date, and then after the funeral, open casket, a whole bunch of shit, they shot her in the face and cremated her. Transport the cremated bones to Leslie Eisenhower's office, where only 1/3 of a human being shows up. The 2/3 is in the arm. They would have been better off just putting in sand, okay? And boom, there you have it. They were trying to convict. Now this is all over on the Calumet County side. Manawha County says, we're not going to get involved in fucking murder and planning. We're not. Herman. The entire Manawha County Sheriff's Department was not going to involve themselves in the murder of Carmen Boutwell and the framing of Stephen Avery. Okay? Do you think that you're going to get the Manawha County Sheriff's Department to get themselves involved in that? Huh? No. Not even a fucking chance. Carmen Boutwell was killed in Manawha County. Teresa Halbach was missing from Calumet County. That's more the story than anything else. Now, the bones in the fire pit is bullshit. Never fucking happened. But you believe, oh, there are bones in the fire pit because they told me so, and I don't think worth shit. I just believe what they say. And then anybody else that says something different than what I've been told to believe, then fuck them. I will shut them out, and I'll keep going with what I'm told to believe. Sheep. So, are you a sheep? You know? Just, I believe it all. I believe I'm gullible as fuck. Okay? No. It's not the way it goes. If that's your belief, get the fuck out of here. Alright? It's called critical thinking. It's actually thinking through each and every piece of this case. Now, Zellner, on the one hand, is trying to solve the murder that didn't happen. And Allred is trying to find Teresa Halbach. So, Zellner is going through the court system and lying every fucking time because there's all these people that sent her all this shit and she just doesn't fucking pay attention to it. And out walks DNA, recent DNA collected that comes up, bing, positive, Teresa Halbach. There it is. Between the two, you know. Now, Gloria Allred's going in for the estate of Teresa Halbach. And they're going to sue the fuck out of everybody. And in doing that, opening up an investigation into the death of Carmen Boutwell. That's what's going to happen. That's it. What else? You know? Teresa's not dead. Carmen Boutwell is. Carmen Boutwell was murdered for her bones to be used in a burn pit that was just said to be a burn pit, but actually just arrived at Eisenhower's office in a box. Okay? She even said so herself. You know, has no idea where these bones came from. So it's just propaganda. It's a myth. It's not true. That not being true, Stephen Avery and Brandon Dassey walk on that alone, period. Period. Just walk along on and on, right there. But they don't. These people are playing Stonewall. See? They've got the evidence. They got the 100% exculpatory evidence, and yet they stonewall Stephen Avery and Brandon Dassey still in prison. Even though they got this information, and they've had this information for a while, actually. Long enough to get Stephen Avery and Brandon Dassey out, and long enough to get the search for Teresa Halbach back on. Why not? Because they're guilty as fuck, is why. And it's their ass, and they're going to fucking prison, or they're going to get sued their ass off, or something, but they're all fucking compromised, and nobody knows what the fuck to do. So they don't do anything. And that says it all. There is your proof in the fucking pudding. These people are so paralyzed by the truth they don't know what the fuck to do. Because they're going to be exposed and sued. Yeah. Talk about They're covering their ass. That's all it is. It's an ass covering fucking operation now, Jack. But then we have Gloria Allred. It has nothing to do with the case. Only her, and she's just going to search upon Teresa. She's not going to go to court. Not going to do nothing. She's just going to present Teresa Marie Halbach alive and have a nice day. Pretty simple, actually. Facial recognition, that type of thing. They'll find her eventually.